I woke up when I got the feeling nobody's gonna make it easy. I left out when I wanna be inside as it's all going down.
How did I come up with the name Lighten Up and Shoot? Well, a few years ago I started getting into photography sort of as a hobby. I didn't really know that it would turn into sort of a job, a full-time job. So I started shooting, and pretty much right away I started shooting professionally. I kind of weaseled my way into a couple of magazine gigs. And I thought, you know what, this would be really, really cool to be able to document the journey as a photographer and how I've kind of basically taken a hobby and turning it into, you know, like a job and making money at it, and having fun and shooting, you know, interesting people, beautiful girls. So that was the idea, and so I started, and I always had liked the idea of kind of making videos and YouTube and that sort of thing. We'd made a couple of videos, and we had them out there, and we started brainstorming names, and someone said, these people just need to lighten up, these pixel peepers, and that's how the name came about, Lightenupandshoot.com, basically from the idea of pixel peepers and guys that are way into like everything's got to be exact and perfect, and I'm the total opposite. They need to lighten up. Like, the level that I'm shooting at. Well, one is you got to shoot all the damn time. You know, I don't think there's really, you have to really be passionate about it, and you have to look at your art form and what you do with this camera, and you need to really be able to translate your vision of what you want to do. You know, if you're going to shoot just one specific style, focus on that style and rock it. I'm talking learn it inside and out, and then exaggerate it. So the answer to your question is that I've been shooting now for over 3 years, and I've had an opportunity to shoot all different types of commercial jobs. And to be quite honest, a lot of the jobs that I had in the beginning, I didn't know what the hell I was doing, but I did it anyway. I had the confidence to say, I can do this and I can figure this out, even if it was the night before trying to figure out how do I shoot an interior shot, like for example, let's say I'm doing an interior photo for a company. You really just have to put yourself out there and don't be afraid to take those leaps and those chances. If you want to be a commercial photographer, a wedding photographer, you just have to do it. And somehow, just by the mere fact of wanting to do it, it just happens. And that's exactly what happened with me. I wanted to shoot beautiful people. That's what I wanted to do. And that opened up doors to potential magazine gigs and shooting more fashion and pretty girls. That's what I'm interested in. And so just by merely putting it out there, it happens. So I hope that answers your question. You have to want it. So let me give you an example of what I'm talking about. Let's say that someone calls you and asks you if you can do this particular commercial job. Let's use an example of me. There was an underwear company, but I didn't have any experience shooting fashion whatsoever. And they contacted me and said, are you able to shoot this, and do you have examples of some work? Well, what I did is I actually talked to them and said, well, what is it that you're looking for? What style? Something very, very dramatic? Is it more natural light? What are they looking for? Did they have it? I can actually kind of turn it around on them. Do you have any examples of what you're looking for? And then we can go from there. So they did. They showed me some examples of magazines, and I had a meeting with them. And I said, yeah, I can put together some examples. All I did was find examples of other people's work and said, this is what I think we can do. I didn't claim it to be mine, but I had never shot that before. But what I did is I said, here's some examples I think that'll work with your product, with the style, and to help you sell this product. And then we made the shoot happen. And that's exactly how I, from day one, is that got the attitude is that I am able and capable of doing this and then making it happen. I think that if you're so worried about I'm not there yet, it'll never happen. So you have to want it first of all, and then you just figure out a way to make it happen. Okay, so this is a two-part question. The first question is, what are the things that I say to a subject or a model when I'm working with them? What are the top 5 things that I say to get certain emotions or get a certain kind of response out of my model or out of my subject? And the second part of the question is, since I shoot such a diverse group of people, from professional models, non-professional models that I meet on the street, to indigenous Indians, to just anybody that I find interesting, is how do I work with these people? Because are you going to work with an older lady, for example, differently than a young little kid? So let's see if I can first start with what are some things that I say. A lot of times I don't know. I do have a couple of things that I say. It starts with, first of all, the gear. Before I break out, you know, a light modifier or a speed light or a strobe light and a bunch of lights, I'm so wrapped up in this gear thing is that I will go with just a camera and a lens. Typically a wide angle lens, and get in close and have a little bit of fun. I'll just start answering some basic questions, and I'll just tell the subject to just relax. We're gonna hang out and I'm playing with my camera, just do your thing. And while I'm doing this, I'm kind of maybe looking to see if they have a better side. And I'm just kind of asking some general questions just to see if I get a certain reaction. If they're completely a deadbeat, you know, that makes it a little bit more of a challenge to figure out what are they interested in and what kind of conversation can I have with them to kind of prick them up a little bit. So that's kind of the first thing, is I'll ask little questions about what kind of relationships are they in, what are they doing for fun, what about the clothing, what kind of clothes do they wear. I'll talk a little bit about that. Let's say that we've gone through that and I'm getting to know them a little bit on a personal level. And then let's say what I think, a couple of things I like to do is bring them through a range of emotions. Something crazy like, hey, let's get some movement going on and I want you to move. If they respond to that, I'll keep going into that. If they kind of think that that's a little bit weird, I may not push it yet. I'll work on something else. Well, okay, I want you to give me a frown, I want you to give me a smiley face, or I want you to, I'll go through a different levels of emotion in the facial expressions to see if I can bring anything out of them. And if they're really going with it and having fun with it, then I know I've got it. And then it's easy to just stop and go, all right, good, stop. I've had enough of your silliness, and let's get real for a minute. So this is the kind of things that the other thing I'll do is I kind of poke fun at people in a very, very playful way. Not be mean and not be cruel, but I'll look at I'll look at their shoes and I'll go, I love your shoes, don't take them off. Or, and so what's up with that? And I'll just make it as a joke. I don't know what that is. Or maybe they touch me and kind of, oh, stop it. And I'll go, hey, don't touch me, get the hands off. You know, in a very, very playful way. Those are some things that I do. How do I do it? I'm doing the same thing with all different types of people, whether it be an old man or a young model. I treat everybody the same. So the answer to your question is that it's always different, but I look to see what triggers emotions or get a rise out of people and touch them in a different way, and I keep going and touching and pushing and pulling until I find it. And when I find it in that person, I'll go in that direction. There's no way of knowing without me just doing it. That being said, do you want to see it happen live? Let's do it. That's a really, really long answer to that question, but I really don't know how else to explain it right now. Okay, so what we're going to do is actually, while we're doing this kind of interview series, as if somebody interesting walks by, a really pretty girl, or just somebody interesting and different, I'm going to stop and take a photo. If during my initial process, if I find that they really kind of are going to clam up and it's going to take too long to bring out that personality of them, I'm just going to quit. I don't have a lot of time right now. If they're going with it and it's flowing, I'm going to do it. If they're not, oftentimes I'll just quit. So we're looking for interesting people here in a minute, and as they stop and walk by, I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to give away a couple quick secrets, right? Let's say that you're just socially inept. You're not able to approach people, right, for the first time. There's a couple things that you can do. It's pretty much foolproof. If you say who you are, not that your name, no one cares about your name, just I'm a photographer. I'm a beginning photographer. I'm an amateur photographer. Whatever it is, say who you are, why you want the picture. Whatever the reason is. Because we're making this video today, I need a model. I'm practicing. And say how long it's going to take. Is it going to take 30 minutes? Is it going to take 30 seconds? But giving some kind of time frame, because otherwise people are going to assume that's going to take forever. Well, how long is this going to take? And immediately diffusing them of what's it going to be used for. People are going to say, what's this for? Is it going to be put on the internet? I'm just spitting. And of course, I actually use that to my advantage and joke, and I go, this photo is going to be all over the internet, which is not a lie, because I will put it all over the internet. And that's it. If you say those couple things, you pretty much are going to get somebody to be your subject every time.